Mute yourself, Sadie.
Ah, now can you hear me? Okay, you could see me but couldn't hear me. Sorry. Welcome to Building Stronger Neighborhoods, Neighborhood Nuggets on tonight. Hey, we are all family, and tonight we have a new person who has joined our family on tonight. And I'm so excited about this guest. Now, listen, a little bit different layout on tonight. So what I need everybody to do is to share this with someone on tonight. And tonight we're gonna relax and have fun. You know what I always say, if we're not having fun, we're not doing it right. Listen, I have my co-host with me on tonight, Miss Jerry Alfano, who's with us from Greensboro Neighborhood Congress. Miss Jerry, will you just introduce yourself briefly?
Okay, well, I think you already did it, but I'm from the Greensboro Neighborhood Congress, which is a citywide alliance of the neighborhoods. And we encourage and promote quality of life in Greensboro and help neighborhoods solve their problems so that the quality of life is good in Greensboro. That's what we're dedicated to.
Well, thank you so much for being my co-host on tonight. We're going to have some fun. Tonight we have as our special guest, Miss Cecelia Thompson. I think I got that right. She's the Executive Director of Action Greensboro. And listen, I heard she's a good cook. I did. And so tonight, I probably fooled you all tonight. I have on my chef hat, but I'm not cooking tonight. I want to look like I'm going to cook, but I'm not doing the cooking. She's cooking on tonight, and we are super grateful to have her here with us on tonight. So, Miss Cecelia, we're going to get you to introduce yourself, and then we're going to take it away tonight. If you're looking and viewing with us tonight, you know tonight she's going to prepare some easy Thanksgiving appetizers on tonight, and I'm excited because I've already looked at one recipe, and I'm like, I think I'm going to need to try that. So, Cecelia, tonight is all on you. Tell us a little bit about you, and we'll get started.
Yeah, well, thank you, Sadie, and thanks, Jerry, for having me tonight. Really excited to be here and share some recipes. As you mentioned, I'm Executive Director of Action Greensboro in my day job, which means I'm committed to the same values that you are, growing this community, growing the economy, and so we can all live really fruitful lives here in Greensboro. In my spare time, I do love to cook and talk about it. I love to talk about cooking. I like to eat. I certainly like to share things when I can. It's been a little hard these days during COVID not to be able to host as many people around the kitchen. But I also have a history with building stronger neighborhoods. You may not know this, but when I was an intern in college, I was an intern with the Community Foundation, and I worked on the Building Stronger Neighborhoods program. So it's been quite a while since that happened, but I certainly value what you guys do and are really just excited to be here tonight on your show. So thanks for having me.
Cecelia, thank you so much for being here. And I did not know that information. And I thank you for continuing to support the program. As you see on tonight, it's got a little bit of a different turn. We pivoted a little bit. Coronavirus made us think outside of the box, which connected me to you, thanks to Miss Tara Sandercock. So I definitely want to give her a shout out on tonight because she suggested that I reach out to you. So without further ado, on tonight, Miss Cecelia, we're going to let you take it away. And while you cook, me and Miss Jerry, we're going to get to chat with you.
Yeah, okay. So I thought we would make a couple things tonight. The focus is easy and Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is just next Thursday. And I think all of our plans are really up in the air, right? Like some of us are still hosting our immediate family. Some of us maybe having a Zoom Thanksgiving. I am certainly doing that. I'll be missing my family this year, but for safety reasons, we're all staying at home in our respective places. And so Thanksgiving may look similar, it may look different, but I think either way, these appetizers are fun, they're kid-friendly, they're easy to make. You can also make them in advance if you want to, and they'll last you all day long if you're eating in the afternoon or in the evening, whatever you guys end up doing on Thanksgiving Day. So tonight, I thought we could make two things. One is a deviled egg. Everyone knows that I love a deviled egg, and they are great in any season. And so I decided to make a deviled egg that has caramelized onions with brown sugar and bourbon on top. If you know Walker Sanders at the Community Foundation, he'll also like to know that there's bourbon in the deviled eggs. And then we're also going to make a cheese ball. I made these a couple weeks ago for a COVID-friendly outdoor party with some girlfriends. And they're small cheese balls that you can put all kinds of things on, and then you stick them on top of a sliced apple. Apples are in season right now. And so we'll be doing that as like a little bit of a treat. Then I have some other ideas, also have open to questions and conversation about other appetizers, but these are all different. So I'm gonna start with the deviled egg. We'll take a break and then we'll go back to the cheese ball if that works for you guys. So deviled eggs. I like a simple deviled egg. I already pre-boiled my eggs. I'm just making 6 because it's just me tonight. I don't think I'll be able to eat 6 eggs. But I know there's a hungry person who will be coming back from work. So there's 2 ways, obviously, you can cut a deviled egg. I like to do something a little bit different. Normally, I'll bring my egg closer. Normally, if you're gonna cut a deviled egg, you would cut it this way. And so it would sit horizontally like that. But I think it's fun to cut it the different way, to cut it across this way. And so that way you can cut the end off and your deviled egg will sort of stand up like that. So I'm gonna do that. It's just a little different spin. Of course, it tastes the same either way. So I'm gonna cut the egg open. This deviled egg, I know a lot of people typically put things like Old Bay in their deviled eggs, or maybe paprika, other things. Because this is a deviled egg that has the bourbon and the caramelized onion on top, I'm not going to put extra flavor in the egg. I'm just going to use salt, pepper, and I use white pepper. Black pepper is also great, but I think white pepper has just a different taste to it. So mayonnaise, mustard, I use Dijon, salt, white pepper. And so that's sort of the base of the egg, but you can really just do what works for you. There's no rules here. So whatever you're interested in. And then you can mix it by hand. I think it's always nice to do it in like a mixer, if you have a hand mixer or a stand mixer, just because I think it adds like a really fluffy consistency to it, but there are no rules. So you do you. I'm walking away to use my mixer. So starting that, and then the egg mixture that goes on top. So what I've done is I'm taking about half of an onion and I sliced it super thin and I sauteed it in a little butter. You could use olive oil, whatever you want to do that. And so it's been sitting on medium to medium low for almost 30 minutes now. And so you'll see that the onions have gotten really brown and they've sauteed. So they're not crispy, but they're kind of a darkish brown and they're soft. And so that's sort of the goal that you're looking for. And so those onions are now sauteed, and I'm just gonna add a sprinkle of brown sugar, which of course will help caramelize the onion, but it'll also help darken it and add a little sweetness to the onion. So I'll turn my camera. This is hard to do on Zoom, right? So I'm just sauteing the onions more in the brown sugar, which will just deepen the color of the onions. It'll sweeten it and just caramelize it even more. So it's a really tasty onion. And then I think bourbon adds just like an interesting depth of flavor to the onions. So once the sugar has sort of broken down and you kind of hear it crystallizing, it's important whenever you're cooking with alcohol to not pour alcohol over an open flame, right? Because you know what happens, things light on fire. So either turn your burner off while you do this or move the pan to the side and then pour the bourbon in. So I'm gonna do that. I'm using Maker's Mark because I know that it's a Community Foundation favorite. And I'm just putting a couple tablespoons into the onions and I can hear them sizzling. You might be able to hear them sizzling. And I'm just gonna cook that down until there's no more liquid. So you're taking the flavor from the bourbon, but you're not taking the alcohol, which means no one's gonna get drunk off these deviled eggs. You can give them to cook to kids, all those sorts of things.
Cecelia?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, maybe some bourbon on the side.
Maybe some, you can certainly have bourbon on the side with these deviled eggs. No question about it. No question about it. And there's no rules on Thanksgiving. I know Jerry likes to have lots of healthy things on Thanksgiving, but we'll have we'll have some apple in the next portion for some nutritional value.
I think eggs are wonderful, and I'm really happy to see that now the recommendation is eggs. For a while, they were no, and I just kept eating them because I find them to be the perfect food. So I'm
Yeah.
good.
Well, they're high in protein. They're vegetarian. So if you have some folks with, different dietary needs, I think they're a nice sort of addition for a vegetarian option. Although you could make the same recipe, and instead of doing the onions, you could do like a candied bacon, which would be really over the top. But just throwing that out there. So
Cecelia?
you could, yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. So we have a question. We want to make sure we understand. So the alcohol in the bourbon burns off. Is that correct?
That's right. Yep. So once you cook alcohol down, the alcohol will burn off, and it won't have any alcohol in it. It'll just be the flavor. Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah. So for instance, if you were going to make a hot toddy, you would just not bring it up to a boil. So that you would still have an alcoholic beverage. If you brought it up to a boil, you'd boil off the alcohol.
Gotcha.
So whatever direction you want to go in, there's the rule. So you could certainly just scoop the deviled egg mixture into the egg white with a spoon. But I put it in a piping bag. So I just got this, and I wish I could, maybe I can finagle my, oh, look at that. Look at this. Okay. So I'm just going to pipe these deviled eggs, and you'll see they're standing up a little bit. And then once the mixture, let's check it out here. We're still cooking a little bit then I lost my spatula. I've got another one. I'll come back to you guys. There I am. So our onions are almost done, and I will show you how brown they are now with you can see that they're very brown. And so that's a nice addition. So I'm going to hold on these. I'm going to turn this burner off so they cool off. If you're making these in ahead, I would go ahead and make the onions and then just let them come to room temperature, because these onions are super hot, and so you want to put them right on top of the deviled egg, unless you're eating them immediately. But if you're going to save them till later, probably best to let these cool before you put them on the egg. So I will do that. So that's the deviled egg. It's not quite done. We'll show you the finished product when it cools off. But Sadie, do you want to stop for any questions or comments or other deviled egg ideas?
Sure. So I want people who are viewing to know, if you have questions or comments, drop them in the comment section. I love this. The deviled egg recipe is definitely different from the Southern recipe, right, that we would do. So I've grown up here in the South. I've been a Southern belle here all my life. And that's definitely a different spin, especially when we talk about the bourbon, and just making sure, that if I invite, some other people over, like they're, I don't need them to get drunk and think that I get drunk either. So I appreciate getting that clarity, but that was very easy and definitely worth a try.
Yeah.
I think we have to learn to expand our taste buds. So
Yeah.
I am writing it, and I like pretty food. So look at that.
Not quite done yet, but we're getting there.
We're getting there. Hey, I like this idea of cutting the bottom off the egg a little bit.
It's a cool little trick. Yeah, it always surprises me. The other thing I discovered, that if you go on a picnic, so say you're going to an outdoor Thanksgiving gathering and you want to bring deviled eggs, you can make them this way and then save the egg carton and then just put the deviled eggs back into the egg carton. So it's like a easy transportation of these deviled eggs too.
Gotcha. I gotcha. Well, I'm gonna have to try that one. I know my sister is like thinking, I think she's viewing with us tonight, and she's like, oh, it's a little different from what we do, but we're gonna have to get creative and try that on tonight. And we taking a pause for the cause. So while Miss Cecelia is getting ready to transition and get the next recipe going here in a minute, Miss Jerry Alfano, my co-host tonight, had some trivia. Miss Jerry, it's on you.
Okay, I've got a question for everybody, and you need to drop, if you have the answer, drop it into the chat. I'm sorry, into the comments. And the question is, according to Google Trends, what is North Carolina's most popular Thanksgiving side dish? And the winner has a really great prize, right, Sadie?
Yeah. So ask it one more time.
Okay. According to Google Trends, what is North Carolina's most popular Thanksgiving side dish?
All right, so drop that answer in. And while you're doing that, looks like we have a question. Someone is asking, how do I make my deviled eggs, right? So as a norm, I just make my deviled eggs. One, I do the same thing you do, Cecelia. I put on gloves and I tend to mash them up. I don't know, sometimes just being fun with food is great, but with gloves. And then I add mayonnaise and I add mustard. I add pickle relish, sweet pickle relish, because I don't like dill. But some people do make it with dill, and that's fine. I add a little bit of sugar to mine and make them sweet. And then sometimes I do pipe them and sprinkle them with paprika, however you want to say it. And that is pretty much it. I do, deviate a little bit. Some people do like dill. I don't, but I know how to make them deal. And so that's how I make mine. And just as quickly, and actually I'm planning to do some candied bacon over the holidays, which is, I know, Miss Jerry, I know it's not the healthiest, but right,
holidays.
once a year, I can try the candied bacon. So I've never tried it. So I'm gonna try that and put it on top of the deviled eggs.
Sadie, what kind of mayonnaise do you use?
Well, see, what had happened was, in this house, my husband is a Miracle Whip fan. So we have to use Miracle Whip salad dressing. I can cook when I'm making potato salad, whatever. I can use anything, Duke's. I can use Hellman's. I can use some Miracle Whip. But what I don't do, I can use Kraft. I don't use off-brand mayonnaise or salad dressing. I do not. It's something about the quality of it that is very different when you go off-brand. And so I'm very particular about that.
Everyone is so particular about mayonnaise. I didn't really grow up eating mayonnaise, so I just buy whatever's on sale. But I had Duke's tonight, so. Yep.
That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So while we're waiting on a winner,
We already have.
Wait a minute. I see.
No, it's Mia Donnell, and she needs to get in touch with you. Is that right, Sadie?
That is correct. So Mia Donnell, if you will actually send something in Messenger to me, I will get with you on I will get with you on getting you. Let me tell you what you have won. So tonight, BSN is giving away an adult pass to Winter Wonder Lights at the Natural Science Center, which is part of our Greensboro Parks and Rec. And if you've been viewing, last week we had Nasha McCray, who's over our Parks and Recs department here for Greensboro. And that was one of the things she talked about. And so I think it's nice that we can support our city. And I'm excited. I plan to go to the Winter Wonder Lights. I do. As long as I can go before too many people get there. But that's what Miss Mia Donnell has won tonight. So congratulations, Mia. And I know Mia, so she will definitely get in contact with me tonight. All right, so thank you, Miss Jerry. Oh, what was the answer? Miss Jerry, tell them what the answer was.
The answer was mac and cheese. Yay.
Yeah, macaroni and cheese. And believe it or not, it's a lot of kids' favorites, one of their favorite foods as well. So, Miss Cecelia, are you ready for us?
Yeah, I'm ready. Okay, so we're gonna make, everyone's familiar with the holiday cheese ball, which is fun. I once made an appetizer with big cheese balls that looked like the lighted Christmas balls in Sunset Hills. So I'll bring it back to the neighborhoods. So you could do this in a mini format if you were interested. So I love goat cheese, and goat cheese, there's a local actually provider at the farmer's market, the Goat Lady Dairy Farm. So if you wanted to buy local goat cheese, you can. So this is a super easy recipe, and it's also kid friendly if they want to get in with clean hands. And so essentially what you're going to do is just put around 6 ounces, which is a small thing, of goat cheese, and combine it with about 2 ounces of cream cheese. If you buy cream cheese in the block, it's about 8 ounces. So you're just doing like a quarter of that. No need to measure. So you're going to squish it together in the best way that you can. The easiest way to do this is if you have it at room temperature. So that morning, if you're making this, just put the goat cheese and the cream cheese out on the counter. So there's no seasoning in this because you're going to put the seasoning around it in the decorations. And so I'm going to show you the cheese a little. So it's, I mean, nothing fancy here, just some mixed up cheese. And so then there's some options in terms of how to present this. And so this is the way I did it for some friends not long ago. I'm still here. And so I use, if you have a small ice cream scoop, you can use this, or you could just use like a spoon. But if you want to make them even, it's kind of nice to do this in a little ice cream scoop if you have one, but don't go buy anything if you don't need to. So then you have a little ball of cheese. I think it's almost like a 2-bite appetizer, depending on who's eating it, but probably more on the 2 bites. And so this is easy also because if you want to make these in advance, you could prepare all these cheese balls and then just pop them in the fridge. So I'm just going to make 4 for presentation for you guys. So you can make these with all kinds of things. Traditionally, people roll these in nuts. And so I do have some chopped salted pecans. And so this is where the flavor piece of this is going to come in. And so you could use any nut. I think anything that's like more of like an oily nut, like a peanut or a walnut, is better than like an almond, but you do you. And so all you have to do is just roll the cheese ball into the pecans. And so it's seasoned goat cheese with cream cheese. It's not terribly salty, but I don't think it needs to be. So then you see you have this nice looking cheese ball here. But if you want to make it so it stands on its own, like if you're going to travel or take it somewhere, I take a piece of apple. So this is a Honeycrisp apple. You could use whatever apple you want. I put the goat cheese ball on top of the apple, so it has like a little footing. And then, where are my toothpicks? You could stick a toothpick in it. So instead of like people putting their hands on everything, they just pick the whole thing up like this, which is nice. So pecans is certainly an option. I'll make one more with pecans. And then I have sort of a fancy idea. If you get bored like me on Thanksgiving and you're missing your parents and they're not here, I think my parents might be watching, so I'm assuring them that I'll be very sad since they'll not be with me. So another fun thing that I saw that you can do is hot paprika. You could also use regular paprika, but so I like hot paprika because it does have quite the kick. And what you do is it's like a little decoration. You put some of the paprika on a cutting board, not too much. And then you make like a little line out of it. All right, hold on. Trust the process, trust the process. And then, so once you have like a thin line of paprika, I think you can see that on the camera. You then take the cheese ball and then you just roll it. One down the middle. So then your cheese ball ends up like that. Isn't that decorative? So you can take the apple again, you can put the cheese ball on top, and then, where's my toothpick? Then you put this like so. So it has this nice little line of paprika. It looks very artistic, right? So I'll do one more. And then what you can do to make it have a little bit more flavor, I like to just put just a hair of salt on the paprika one, because there's no salt on those, obviously. And then if you have honey bear, you can put honey on both of them, on both kinds. So then you have these pretty cheese balls.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So there was a question, but I couldn't read it.
So the question came from someone that says, can you use just cream cheese if goat cheese is not available?
Yes, you could use cream cheese only. I think that it's not going to be as tangy. So you might want to consider like adding some flavor to the cream cheese, and then you're probably going to have to refrigerate them longer because it's going to be like a stickier substance. But you could certainly use just cream cheese if you can't find it. But most grocery stores have it. It's not, I wouldn't say it's not cheap. And so like this 6 ounces, or you could also reduce the amount of goat cheese. And so if you wanted to do like 3 ounces of goat cheese and 3 ounces of cream cheese, you could just reduce that so you wouldn't have to buy as much goat cheese. But it's kind of a splurge, I think. I mean, if you're, but it's Thanksgiving, so. Other questions?
Oh, not yet. Looks like all bets are off when it comes to the holidays. You just have fun, indulge a little bit, and then at the beginning of the year, we all make those New Year's resolutions. We do.
Yeah.
So, we'll enjoy, especially with, we've had so much going on with coronavirus, and the news has bombarded us with all kinds of stuff. I'm not knocking that, but it's great to have some feel good, taste good food.
It does. There's something about memories and food and nostalgia. And so, right now when we're missing our family or missing our friends, it's kind of nice to have a little comfort food. I'm adding the onions to the deviled eggs right now. And so here's the final product. So I did 1 platter with goat cheese balls and the deviled eggs. So there you go.
That looks
It's my Thanksgiving appetizers.
You about to make me lick my screen. I'm trying to touch that, like, woo! And listen, that was quick. So we came on at 6:30 and did some intros, and it's almost 7, and you have completed 2 appetizers. That's pretty quick. That's pretty quick.
Yep.
A little bit of prep behind the scenes, but not much. Boil the eggs, pretty much.
That's it.
So this is great. We're getting good feedback. Lots of people are watching and loving this session. I want to challenge everybody tonight. Number one, as we get ready to close, because we want to be respectful of your time, I want everybody that's listening right now and is watching, drop in the comments your favorite Thanksgiving food. Drop it in the comments. I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at it. Drop it. What is your favorite Thanksgiving food? I love it. Listen, I'm a big cook. My son is a cook and we love it. Miss Jerry, when we were talking, Miss Jerry, tell them why you said you would love to be a part of today's session. What did you tell me in that email?
I'm sorry?
What did you say in the email? You said you would love to be a part of today's session. Why?
Because food is one of my favorite topics. I love to talk about food, although I have to say it's kind of been a little torturous to see Cecelia's wonderful appetizers and not be able to taste them.
I know.
And I absolutely adore cheese. Cheese is one of my favorite things, and I'm going to give a plug for for splurging and using goat cheese because it's really well worth the money invested in it.
I will tell you, and so people are saying they like red velvet cake and they like the cornbread stuffing and dressing. Wow, collard greens. I see collards and cornbread. Woo! So I will tell you all that up until about 2 years ago, I was very afraid to try goat cheese. And I want to let our audience know it is good, especially when you mix it with like the cream cheese. right? When we think goat cheese, again, I'm a Southern belle. And so sometimes when we say things like goat cheese, it's like, people tend to shun that a little bit, right? But as an appetizer like this, it would be a good opportunity for people to get a little something different on their palate. And, we used to say, don't knock it till you try it. Try it, make a little bit. You ain't gotta tell nobody if you don't get it perfect. Don't tell
No one will
nobody.
know.
Yeah, no one will know, right? Even if it didn't come out like Cecilia's and you give it to people, listen, tell them that's how it's supposed to be. I made them, we're gonna eat them, right? So, Cecelia, tonight, I wanna give a big thank you out on tonight to you. This has been amazing. First time we've done a cooking segment. Well, wow. Oh, listen to this. Listen, mac and cheese, sweet potato pie, this is for you, Miss Jerry Alfano. Somebody said they like caramelized Brussels sprouts.
That's my favorite too.
It's some good stuff coming through on tonight. Thank you all so much for engaging. Listen, try these recipes. We have dropped those recipes in the comment section. They're on Facebook Live, so you can go and get them. Cecelia, you have done an amazing job. Amazing. We thank you so much for being with us. Miss Jerry Alfano, thank you for co-hosting with me on tonight. I just love it. Listen, y'all, I'm loving what I'm doing here. And I'm grateful. Listen, I have to give a shout out to those people working behind the scenes. Look, they make us look good. They make us sound good. They do all that stuff. All I do is run my mouth. And I appreciate that. So I definitely give a shout out to my coworkers behind the scenes. I don't take it for granted that they take some time out to be with us on a night like tonight. But listen, it's time for us to go. And as we get ready to go, I want to tell you, join us back here again. After Thanksgiving, we'll be back to do our next segment. I'm excited about it. But until then, everyone have a safe holiday. Be safe out there. Enjoy, listen, Zoom and talk to family. Don't just get stuck in the house. There's some fun ways to do. Consider going outside, taking a walk after you eat. Right, Miss Jerry? We still need to move around. Right? So take a walk, enjoy your community, your neighborhood, or whatever. But until we see you again, I'm Sadie Blue with my co-host, Miss Jerry Alfano, and our guest tonight, Miss Cecelia Thompson. And we say happy holidays to all. Have a good evening. Bye.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.